Well, that was quite a discussion, and get ready for another one, because joining us now, David Webb, host on Sirius XM Patriot Radio and Fox News contributor. Also with us, Lis Smith, former deputy campaign manager for Martin O'Malley. Liz, I'm going to start with you. You heard Kellyanne Conway say Donald Trump gets America in a way that the media do not. Is that true?
Well, look, I think that the media did miss a lot of the story in the run-up to the 2016 election, and I'm not going to quibble about that. But now we need to move on, and the Trump administration is so focused on relitigating the 2016 election. And look, he did win. But the problem that they seem to have with right now is with the media coverage of the American people's opposition to them. It is not the media that is the opposition party. It is the millions of people who are turning out at these marches, the thousands of people that we saw at airports this weekend. And what I would advise them to do, as someone who's worked in media for a long time, is to stop attacking the press and start focusing more on governing. And if they did that, maybe they wouldn't have, these disastrous rollouts like they did with the travel ban from Muslim countries over the weekend.
David, you're chuckling.
Let's draw a contrast, because I take your points. Now let's get reality into it. The difference between, say, the election of Obama and the godlike glowing above the fold rec media versus Trump and the response from his opposition and those who hate him, versus how they treated the Tea Parties who marched tens of thousands, millions in opposition to Obama on policy, without riots, without violence, without arrests, and the opposition to Trump, which is led by leftists, anarchists, burned limos, and so broken windows. There are people who march peacefully, but how the media treats those two in contrast, vast difference. Steve Bannon and I have worked together for a long time. I've worked in media. I've worked in newspaper. I was taught to ask the question, listen for the response, fact check when necessary, and then go on to report it. And when he talks about the media, and Kellyanne talks about him, Lester Holt in a debate says stop, question, and frisk has been ruled unconstitutional. Factually incorrect, just like Candy Crowley with Mitt Romney. There are people in the media who have led their own narrative, and the elites have been rejected.
Take his point about the Tea Party, because it's true. I mean, there were tens of thousands, maybe millions of people who came together in the Tea Party protest to rail against what the Obama administration was doing, back in its early days. But they didn't get the same kind of coverage that the anti-Trump protesters are today.
Well, and I remember even Republican elites were criticizing the Tea Party at the time as well. But, I disagree a little bit with the characterization. And if you want to talk about cherry picking, I disagree with the characterization of some of the protests. Because I was at the Houston airport the other night on Saturday when, they had someone detained there. And it was completely peaceful. And people came together to say, we're a nation of immigrants. We're a nation that welcomes refugees. And when a man who had been being detained for hours came out, people cheered and cried, and there was no violence. There are no burning limos, and of course there are always going to be bad actors in these things.
There weren't bad actors in the Tea Party. You can't find me an arrest. You can't find me a burned building. You can't find me a broken window. The difference is how the media handles it, and it is factually correct that the media handled the Tea Party differently than it did these protests. And by the way, I go to the leftist protests. I have to have armed security when Fox sends me there, and I can go to any Tea Party rally and not have security there. I'm in Ferguson. I'm in Baltimore. I'm in all these areas. I'm at Sharpton's March just a couple of weeks ago, and I have 2 armed security with me. Why? Because there is a difference. I'm at the inauguration. The protesters are coming by. Protest is fine. How the media reports it is remarkably different, and the media has lost its way, and I would rather it report the facts on both sides accurately rather than go out and let's take Obama versus Trump on this. 2011, Obama bans immigration from Iraq for 6 months. Can you point me, Liz, can you point me to your article, your tweet, or the video where you objected to Obama? Because I would love to take it on my radio show tonight, which reaches every corner of America, and you can show it to me and tell everybody where it is.
That was tied to a specific threat in 2011 in Kentucky, and that was tied to a specific threat.
This is tied to a specific threat picked by the Obama administration,
that's
7
incorrect.
countries.
Stephen Miller and Sean Spicer were asked today if there was a specific threat, and there wasn't.
The assessment was done in the Obama administration of these 7 countries. They were identified in the Obama administration.
Not for a
This is
travel ban.
constitutional. It is based on geography. It has been done before by presidents, and it is lawful. And it is wrong to call it a Muslim ban. It is a geographic ban.
All right, let's give her a chance to answer.
Right, and so in 2011, there was a specific threat in Kentucky that this was tied to. And the reason why they slowed the application process for refugees was to go back and review evidence to see if they could tie people
And that's
here.
what we're doing here.
No, there's no specific threat.
Specific threat is not required, number one, in a security assessment.
You just said that there's a specific threat. So all I'm trying to do is go back at your point there. There is no specific threat, and this does seem arbitrary. And the Obama administration...
How is it arbitrary? The Obama...
They never did a travel
You just
ban.
said the Obama administration was arbitrary in selecting these 7 countries?
No, they never did a travel ban.
They selected these
did.
countries. Obama's security assessment during his administration selected these 7 countries, which have now been included.
Regarding
Fact.
visa applications, it had nothing to do with a blanket travel ban. This is a blanket travel ban based on nothing but ideology.
It is a temporary 90-day review process.
Well, if it's based on campaign promises, that's legitimate, isn't it? If a president campaigns on something and says, I'm going to do this, and then enacts that policy, that's legitimate.
Sure, it just shows that maybe then we should be taking Donald Trump literally and not seriously. But don't listen to me. Look, I'm a Democrat, sure. But listen to Mitch McConnell, listen to Marco Rubio, listen to Tim Scott, listen to John McCain, listen to Lindsey Graham, listen to David Petraeus, listen to Mattis. All of these people have expressed concerns with, with religious tests.
This is not a religious test.
Mitch McConnell, then take it up with Mitch McConnell. That's what he said yesterday.
He happens to be wrong because this is based on incident. And the one thing that we have here is Democrats like to sell the emotion.
There's no incident.
I want to deal in what a security process is. Time, 24 months, is not vetting.
Yeah.
The process is vetting, and that's what we need right now.
Well, we are out of time for this discussion, but it's been very interesting.
I'd be happy to see your objection in 2011.
Good to
I'll
have
give
you
you a
both
platform.
on. Liz Smith,
Great.
David Webb, thank you both.
Thank
Good to see you.